Stop right there because the penny sitting in your pocket right now could literally be worth more than your car. I'm not exaggerating. Today, we are talking about 3 Lincoln pennies minted in 1960, 1973, and 1974 that have sent collectors into an absolute frenzy, driven bidders wild at the world's most elite auction houses, and turned ordinary people into overnight coin millionaires. These are not just old pennies. These are numismatic legends hiding in plain sight, and most people have no idea they even exist. Let's start with the 1960 small date Lincoln penny. In January of 1960, the Philadelphia Mint struck only about 2 million of these coins, making them dramatically rarer than the large date version produced that same year. But here's where it gets wild. A 1960D large date in MS67, red condition sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $20,000, roughly 42 times more than what a typical example of that variety commands. And if you somehow find one graded MS68 red, we're talking prices that can exceed $5,000, and the MS67 RD already hits $400 or more. One tiny coin. One life-changing number. Now hold on, because it gets even crazier with the 1973 aluminum experimental penny. The U.S. Mint secretly tested aluminum pennies in 1973 and 1974, and a small number were never returned, probably totaling 12 to 14 coins. These aren't just rare, they are government-level rare. Hidden, forbidden, priceless. These rare aluminum pennies have remained hidden and unsold, so their true value remains shrouded in mystery, which only makes collectors want them more. And that brings us to the absolute crown jewel of this entire video, the 1974 aluminum Lincoln penny. The legendary 1974 aluminum penny coin, never officially released, is estimated to be worth between $250,000 and $2 million. Only a handful of specimens are believed to exist outside of government control. In fact, a San Diego man who inherited one from his father, a former U.S. Mint official, had it valued at $2 million and planned to auction it through Heritage Auctions before the U.S. government stepped in and sued to get it back. That's right, the government wanted it so badly. They took him to federal court over one penny. The 1974 aluminum penny is believed to be the only surviving example from Denver's aluminum cent production, making it arguably the single rarest coin in the entire Lincoln cent series. So here's the question that should be keeping you up at night. What if you have one of these? What if it's been sitting in a jar, a drawer, or a dusty coin collection for decades and you never even knew? Stay right here, because in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to look for, what these coins look like up close, and how to get them authenticated and sold for top dollar at the world's biggest auction houses, Heritage Auctions, Stacks, Bowers, and PCGS graded sales. Welcome back, coin hunters, treasure seekers, and history lovers. Today we are diving deep into one of the most electrifying, and wildly underestimated coins in all of American numismatic history. The 1960 Lincoln Memorial sent a tiny copper coin that most people toss into a jar, throw under the couch, or carelessly hand over at a gas station without a second thought. But here's the bombshell truth that will make you run to your coin jar the moment this video ends. Certain 1960 Lincoln pennies are fetching hundreds, even thousands of dollars at elite auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stacks, Bowers, and Grayclaw. And the staggering reason WHY comes down to a fascinating combination of jaw-dropping mint errors, breathtaking varieties, elusive mint marks, and a rich, century-spanning history that makes this 1-cent coin an absolute holy grail for serious collectors worldwide. So let's start at the very beginning, because context is everything. The Lincoln cent itself was born in 1909. Making it the very first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait, introduced to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by the legendary sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB on the reverse of the 1909 coin sparked one of the most explosive controversies in U.S. mint history, creating overnight rarities worth thousands today. Fast forward to 1959, and the reverse design was completely overhauled, replacing the iconic wheat stalks with Frank Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial, designed to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. And it is within this brand new reverse design era that our star of the show, the 1960 penny, enters the scene with a thunderclap of variety and controversy that sent collectors into an absolute frenzy. Now, here is where things get insanely exciting, because 1960 is not just one penny. Oh no, it is a battlefield of varieties. And the single most explosive discovery of that year was the existence of 2 dramatically different date sizes, the large date and the small date, and while both were struck at the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, and at the Denver Mint bearing the iconic D mint mark, it is the 1960 small date over large date variety, known to collectors as the LDSD overdate, that makes seasoned numismatists absolutely lose their minds. Because this staggering mint error, created when Denver Mint workers used large date working dies and then punched small date logotypes over them, produced one of the most visually dramatic and collectible double die and overdate eras of the entire Lincoln Memorial series. And specimens graded MS65, read by PCGS or NGC, the two most trusted and respected professional grading services in the world, have sold at auction for figures that would make your head spin, with top-tier examples crossing the $1,000 to $5,000 through $5,000 threshold and beyond, depending on strike quality, color designation, and surface preservation. Speaking of color, this is another critical factor that shocks new collectors. Lincoln cents are graded not just by condition, but by color, with the three designations being red, red-brown, and brown. And a pristine 1960 penny glowing with its original fiery mint red luster is exponentially more valuable than a brown, circulated example, because that blazing copper red color signals that the coin has never been cleaned, never been harshly handled, and has survived over 6 decades in absolutely perfect, untouched condition. A coin time forgot, a numismatic miracle, and the hunt for such coins in original, unrolled bankrolls from 1960 is a pursuit that modern treasure hunters still actively engage in today. A practice called coin roll hunting that has a massive, passionate community of devoted enthusiasts who dream of cracking open that one magical roll and finding a red-hot gem hiding among the pocket change. But wait, because we are nowhere near done with the shocking surprises the 1960 penny has in store. Because beyond the small date and large date drama, there exist doubled die varieties for 1960 that are so breathtakingly dramatic under magnification that they look like the die itself had a moment of beautiful mechanical madness, the doubling visible on the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," and the word liberty on certain Philadelphia and Denver specimens is so pronounced, so gloriously obvious, that even a beginner with a basic 5x loop can spot it. And these coins, especially in mint state red condition, command enormous premiums that have only grown stronger as collector demand intensifies year after year. And then there are the proof coins, struck exclusively at the Philadelphia Mint in 1964, collectors who wanted the absolute pinnacle of coin craftsmanship, with mirror-like fields and razor-sharp, frosted devices produced by specially polished dies and carefully handled planche. And proof 1960 pennies also come in the electrifying large date and small date varieties, meaning that even in the proof series, collectors face the same heart-pounding variety hunt that makes this year so uniquely spectacular. A deep cameo proof 1960 small date penny graded PR69 DCAM by PCGS is a coin of almost unimaginable rarity and beauty, a museum-worthy treasure that represents the absolute summit of what the U.S. Mint was capable of producing in that era. Now let's talk mint marks. Because location matters enormously in the world of coin collecting, the Philadelphia Mint struck $588,096,600 to Lincoln cents in 1960 with no mint mark, while the Denver Mint produced an equally massive 1,580,884,000 pieces bearing that precious little d below the date. But sheer mintage numbers can be completely deceiving, and here's why. Survival rates, the percentage of coins that were actually saved in high grades rather than circulated into oblivion, are what truly determine rarity in the modern market. And when you factor in the varieties, errors, and grade-by-grade population reports published by PCGS and NGC, you quickly realize that a gem mint state 1960D small date Lincoln cent in blazing red is a coin of genuine, heart-stopping scarcity that appears on auction records with shocking infrequency. And speaking of auction records, the world of numismatic auctions is where these coins truly reveal their worth, where paddles rise and bidding wars erupt between passionate collectors who understand that a perfect 1960 Lincoln cent is not just a coin but a piece of living American history, a copper witness to one of the most turbulent, transformative decades the United States has ever experienced. 1960 was the dawn of the space age, the year John F. Kennedy was elected president, the year the Cold War tension was at a fever pitch, and every single one of those 1960 Lincoln pennies that passed through American hands carried the energy of that explosive, world-changing moment in time. And that, my friends, is what separates great coin collecting from mere accumulation. The understanding that coins are time machines, tiny copper and metal capsules that carry history in their metal, their design, their errors, and their survival. So the next time you find a 1960 Lincoln penny, do not spend it, do not throw it in a jar without a second look. Instead, grab your loop, check the date size, look for doubling, examine the mint mark, evaluate the color, and if you find something extraordinary, get it professionally graded. Because you could be holding a coin worth 50, 100, 500, or even several $1,000s. A treasure hiding in plain sight that the entire coin collecting world would celebrate. If you found this video valuable and you want to continue your incredible journey through the most shocking, rare, and jaw-dropping coins in American history, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel right now, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single treasure hunting adventure. Drop a comment below telling me, Have you ever found a 1960 small date penny in your change? Until next time, keep hunting, keep learning, and remember, fortune always favors the curious. The 1973 Lincoln penny might look like an ordinary 1-cent coin hiding in jars, drawers, piggy banks, and dusty old collections across America. But what if I told you that some of these tiny copper treasures have stunned collectors, sparked bidding wars, and sold for shocking amounts that most people never imagined possible? Because behind this humble coin lies a fascinating story of history, rarity, minting secrets, mint eras, hidden varieties, collector demand, condition rarity, and auction drama that can turn a common cent into a jaw-dropping payday. So today we are diving deep into the incredible world of the 1973 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that millions overlook every day while a few sharp-eyed treasure hunters search relentlessly for rare examples worth far more than face value. And before you spend another penny, you need to hear this entire story because the coin in your pocket could be more valuable than you think. The Lincoln Cent series began in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, making it the first regular circulating United States coin to feature a real historical person instead of symbolic figures. And by 1973, the beloved Lincoln Cent had already become one of the most collected coins in American history. With generations of hobbyists filling albums and chasing rare dates, mint marks, and spectacular errors. The obverse of the 1973 penny features the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, with the word liberty to the left, the date 1973 to the right, and the national motto, "In God We Trust" above, while the reverse still carried the famous Wheatless Memorial design introduced in 1959, showing the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with the United States of America around the rim. E pluribus unum above, and 1 cent boldly displayed below, creating a design recognized by nearly every American. But while the design looked familiar, the 1973 penny was struck during an era of rising inflation, economic uncertainty, and increasing metal prices, which would later push the United States Mint to reconsider coin compositions entirely, making these copper alloy cents some of the last classic Bronze-era Lincoln Memorial coins before major changes arrived in the 1980s. The 1973 Lincoln Cent was produced at 3 different United States Mint facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. And understanding these mint locations is one of the first keys to determining value. Philadelphia struck coins without a mint mark in 1973, meaning a plain 1973 date with no letter beneath it came from Philadelphia. Denver struck coins with a small D mint mark under the date, creating the 1973D cent. San Francisco struck coins with an S mint mark, usually for proof coinage, resulting in the 1973S proof cent, a specially made collector issue with sharper details and mirror-like surfaces. Massive mintages mean many 1973 pennies survive today, but survival alone does not guarantee quality, and that is where serious value begins to emerge. Philadelphia struck well over 3 billion cents in 1973, Denver struck over 3.5 billion, and San Francisco produced millions of proofs, meaning common circulated examples are abundant and usually worth only a few cents. Yet high-grade gems, pristine red survivors, and dramatic error coins can command startling premiums. This is where inexperienced people make a huge mistake. They assume all high-mintage coins are worthless. But seasoned collectors know condition rarity can transform common date coins into elite collectibles. Let us talk composition, because it matters greatly. The 1973 Lincoln Cent was made of 95% copper with small amounts of tin and zinc, weighing approximately 3.11 grams. That heavy bronze composition gives these coins their rich color and solid feel. Unlike later lightweight zinc cents introduced in 1982, many collectors specifically prefer pre-1982 copper cents. Increasing long-term interest in coins like the 1973 issue, color is another crucial factor. Professional graders classify copper cents as brown, red-brown, or red. Brown coins have mostly darkened surfaces from circulation or oxidation. Red-brown coins retain partial original mint luster. Red coins preserve most of their fiery orange and red mint brilliance and often sell for the highest prices when combined with sharp strikes and minimal marks. A worn brown 1973 penny may be worth 1 cent or a small premium, but a blazing gem red example in top certified grade can leap into astonishing territory. Condition is king in coin collecting, and for the 1973 penny, mint state grades such as MS63, MS64, MS65, MS66, and beyond dramatically affect value. Lower mint state examples may trade for modest sums, but top population certified coins with exceptional eye appeal have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars depending on grade, rarity at that grade, and market demand. Why? Because billions were made, but very few survived untouched with full red color, crisp strike details, and nearly flawless surfaces. Bags of cents were tossed, rolled, transported, counted, and spent. leaving contact marks and dulling many coins long before collectors saved them. That means a nearly perfect 1973 cent is far scarcer than the raw mintage suggests. The Philadelphia 1973 no mint mark penny is common in circulated grades, but gem red examples become far tougher. In lower uncirculated grades, these coins may sell for a few dollars, while MS65 red examples can bring stronger premiums. In superb MS66 or MS67, red coins have achieved remarkable auction results because registry set collectors compete fiercely for finest known examples. Registry collecting, where collectors build top-ranked certified sets, has transformed the market for condition rarities, pushing prices far above what casual observers expect. The 1973D Denver cent is similarly common in circulated condition, but Denver issues can vary in strike sharpness, luster, and surface quality. Fully struck, spot-free, blazing red gems are harder than many assume. High-end MS66 or MS67 red pieces can sell for substantial sums when certified by major grading services. Then we have the 1973's proof cent, specially struck for collectors using polished dies and prepared planchettes. These proof coins often show mirrored fields and frosted devices, but not all proofs are equal. Some have haze, spots, fingerprints, or hairlines from poor storage. Deep cameo examples with strong contrast and pristine surfaces can be highly desirable. Ultra-gem proof grades, such as PR69 cameo or deep cameo, can command notable premiums, especially when visually stunning. Now let us enter the thrilling world of errors and varieties, where ordinary pennies become headlines. Mint errors occur when something goes wrong during production, and collectors love dramatic mistakes because they are accidental, limited, and visually fascinating. One of the most sought-after possibilities on a 1973 penny is a doubled die. This happens when the die receives a misaligned impression during creation, causing design elements to appear doubled on struck coins. On some coins, doubling may show on letters, numbers, or Lincoln's features. Strong doubled dies can be worth serious money, while minor machine doubling usually is less valuable. Collectors must learn the difference, because true doubled dies are created on the die itself, while machine doubling occurs during strike bounce and often looks flat or shallow. Another exciting error is the off-center strike. If the blank planchette is not seated correctly during striking, part of the design misses the coin, leaving a crescent-shaped blank area. Off-center 1973 pennies with visible date and dramatic displacement can sell for healthy premiums, with larger off-centers often bringing more attention. Then there are broad strikes, where the retaining collar fails and the coin expands outward without a rim, creating a misshapen but fascinating piece. Clipped planchettes are another favorite, caused when blanks are improperly punched from metal strips, leaving curved or straight missing sections. Genuine clips show distinctive metal flow characteristics and are eagerly collected. Die cracks and cuds also excite specialists. A die crack appears as a raised line on the coin from a cracked die, while a cud forms when a piece of the die breaks away near the rim, creating a raised blob of missing design area. Some dramatic cuds on Lincoln cents bring strong prices because of their bold appearance. Repunched mint marks are less relevant in 1973 because minting practices had evolved, but minor mint mark anomalies and placement oddities still attract interest. Struck-through errors happen when grease, debris, cloth fibers, or other foreign matter comes between die and planche, leaving missing or distorted details. Grease-filled dies can create weak letters or dates, sometimes called ghostly strikes. Wrong planchette errors are among the most shocking possibilities. Imagine a 1973 cent struck on a dime, planchette, or foreign coin blanc, producing the wrong size, wrong color, or wrong weight. Such dramatic wrong planchette errors can bring huge prices at auction when authenticated. Transitional errors involving incorrect metal compositions are famous in other years, and while less common for 1973, any unusual weight or metal should be investigated immediately. That is why serious searchers use precise digital scales and magnification tools. Speaking of tools, every treasure hunter should know how to inspect a 1973 penny. First, check the date and mint mark. Second, examine overall colorette examples are often more desirable. Third, look for luster, fewer marks, and sharp details. Fourth, inspect letters and numbers for doubling. Fifth, check rims for clips, off-centers, cuds, or broad strike signs. Sixth, weigh the coin to confirm normal bronze weight around 3.11 grams, allowing small tolerance. Seventh, never clean the coin. The 1974 Lincoln penny might look like an ordinary 1-cent coin hiding in pocket change, forgotten jars, dusty drawers, and old family collections. But what if I told you that some 1974 pennies have stunned collectors, triggered bidding wars, and sold for amounts that would leave most people speechless? Because beneath that simple copper surface lies a fascinating world of history, hidden varieties, mint mark mysteries, rare errors, and collector demand that continues to grow year after year. making this coin one of the most talked about modern Lincoln cents among treasure hunters who dream of finding a fortune in everyday change. And today we are diving deep into the shocking secrets of the 1974 Lincoln penny, revealing why millions were made, yet only a tiny fraction are truly valuable. How to spot rare examples, what mistakes can send the price soaring, which mint marks matter most, and why some collectors inspect every 1974 penny they see with intense excitement. Because one tiny detail could turn an ordinary cent into a headline-making prize. And before we explore values and rarities, let us step back into 1974, a dramatic year in American history when inflation was rising, gasoline prices had shaken the economy. The nation was dealing with political tension during the Watergate era, and everyday Americans still relied heavily on cash transactions, meaning pennies passed through countless hands each day in stores, vending machines, restaurants, and banks, making the Lincoln cent one of the most familiar coins in circulation. And by 1974, the Lincoln cent had already carried the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln for more than 6 decades since its first release in 1909, designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB had once sparked controversy, but later became a beloved detail in the coin's history, with Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design introduced in 1959 to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday. So every 1974 penny represents not just money, but a continuation of one of America's most recognizable coin traditions. And while many people assume all pennies from the 1970s are common and nearly worthless, collectors know that condition, strike quality, mint mark location, and especially mint errors can transform common coins into astonishing finds. Because in 1974, the United States Mint produced pennies at 3 major facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each creating coins with their own stories. With Philadelphia coins carrying no mint mark, Denver coins marked with a small d beneath the date, and San Francisco producing special proof coins marked with an S, struck specifically for collectors with mirrored fields and sharper details. And this is where the excitement begins. Because while billions of regular circulation 1974 pennies were struck, only a limited number survive in superb condition, and even fewer display dramatic minting errors that can ignite collector frenzy. So let us begin with the 1974 Philadelphia penny, a coin minted in enormous numbers with a mintage exceeding 4 billion pieces, making it common in worn condition. Meaning, if you find one heavily circulated, it is usually worth face value or just a few cents. But do not lose hope, because uncirculated Philadelphia examples with blazing red original luster can command respectable premiums, especially in higher mint state grades such as MS65, MS66, or above, where surfaces remain nearly untouched and the rich copper glow shines as if the coin left the mint yesterday. And when grading becomes elite, prices can jump dramatically, because top population coins are scarce despite the huge mint, proving again that rarity is not always about how many were made but how many survived in exceptional condition. And now let us turn to the 1974 Lincoln penny from Denver. Another high mintage issue, with billions struck, often found in pocket change and coin rolls, but Denver coins sometimes show stronger strikes or different die characteristics that attract specialists. And top-grade red gems from Denver can sell for strong premiums, especially if certified by major grading services, because registry set collectors compete fiercely for the finest known examples. And then we have the 1974 proof penny, a dazzling coin made for collector sets rather than circulation, often featuring mirror-like fields and frosted devices when preserved well. And while many proof coins are common in standard condition, deep cameo examples with strong contrast can command significantly higher prices, especially when perfectly preserved without haze, spots, scratches, or handling damage, making them miniature works of numismatic art. But now we enter the truly thrilling territory that makes viewers lean closer and search their coin jars immediately. Rare errors and varieties. Because the 1974 penny is famous for several dramatic possibilities, including doubled dies, off-center strikes, clipped plant, broad strikes, die cracks, cuds, repunched mint marks on certain examples, and even one of the most sensational stories in modern coin collecting, the legendary 1974 aluminum cent, a mysterious experimental issue that has fascinated collectors for decades. And this incredible story begins when rising copper prices worried the mint, leading experiments with alternative metals to reduce production costs. So, in 1974, a small number of aluminum Lincoln cents were struck as test pieces, lighter in weight and silver-colored in appearance rather than copper, never intended for circulation, with most examples reportedly destroyed or returned. Yet rumors of surviving specimens created one of the most electrifying mysteries in American numismatics, because a genuine 1974 aluminum cent would be one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents ever known, potentially worth an astonishing fortune. Though ownership and legal status have long been controversial, making it a legendary dream coin whispered about by collectors everywhere. and while ordinary people are unlikely to find one, the mere existence of this experimental issue adds incredible drama to the 1974 penny story. But let us return to coins people might realistically own, because doubled die varieties remain one of the most hunted forms of value. And a doubled die occurs when the die used to strike coins receives a misaligned impression during creation, producing visible doubling on letters, numbers, or design elements. In certain 1974 cents show doubling that can range from subtle to dramatic, especially in Liberty, In God We Trust, or The Date, and sharp-edged collectors using magnification can sometimes identify these treasures in old rolls or inherited collections, with values ranging from modest premiums to hundreds or even more depending on strength, rarity, and condition. And then there are off-center strikes, one of the most visually shocking mint errors, where the blank planchette was not properly centered when struck, causing part of the design to be missing while a blank crescent remains. And these coins are highly collectible, because the error is obvious even to beginners, with values depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is and whether the date remains visible. Since collectors love errors that still show the year clearly, and a dramatic 50% off-center, 1974 penny with full date visible can bring exciting prices, especially in uncirculated condition, and clipped planchette errors are another favorite, where a curved or straight portion of the coin is missing because the metal strip was improperly cut before striking, creating unusual shapes that instantly attract attention, while broad strikes occur when a coin is struck without the restraining collar, causing it to spread wider than normal with missing rim definition, producing a bizarre oversized appearance. And these mint-made oddities can be worth far more than ordinary cents, especially when certified authentic. And then there are die cracks and cuds, formed when the striking die develops fractures or breaks, leaving raised lines or blobs on the coin, sometimes creating dramatic textures that error collectors eagerly chase. And although small die cracks may bring modest premiums, major cut errors can become serious collector pieces. And one must also mention wrong planchette possibilities, because occasionally cents were struck on blanks intended for other denominations or foreign coins, creating mismatched weight, color, or size. And while rare, such discoveries have sold for eye-catching amounts, reminding everyone that the minting process can produce astonishing surprises. Now let us talk value ranges, because viewers always ask the burning question, how much is my 1974 penny worth right now? And the honest answer depends entirely on type, condition, color, and errors, with worn Philadelphia or Denver coins usually worth 1 cent to a few cents. Common, uncirculated red coins perhaps ranging from a few dollars upward, gem-certified examples climbing into tens or hundreds. Elite top population coins sometimes reaching much more at auction. Proof San Francisco coins, usually modest in common grades but stronger in cameo or perfect grades. And major errors or rare varieties potentially ranging from hundreds to thousands depending on rarity and eye appeal. While the legendary aluminum cent exists in a different universe entirely, often discussed in six-figure or higher terms if legally transferable, making it one of the most sensational wood-of coins in American numismatics. And auction records reveal how condition transforms common coins into prizes, because registry collectors pay aggressively for finest known examples, sometimes shocking casual observers who cannot understand why one penny sells for face value and another for a small fortune.